It's time.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. We're still recording. It doesn't matter. Fucking whatever.
Nah, man. If I don't get on YouTube, that's right. We'll still release audio. I just got so into the moment, and
yeah, so did I. We just sort of dived in straight in, no kissing there, which is the way I fucking like it. So, yeah.
So, man, tell me a bit about yourself because I don't really know. I don't even know how we sort of crossed paths. I have a feeling it was your friend Naomi who does the what is it? 2 Girls, 1 Smit. And you know when you don't. This is the weird age we live in with social media. You know when you don't know someone, but you're like, I think I've met them. I maybe know them. I'm pretty confident that one time I was in Ireland, we might have been at a house party together and we had like each other on Facebook. And I don't even have her on Instagram. I know I got her on Facebook. Yeah. And I think that's where I saw you first pop up. But I don't know the crossover. I don't know how we got onto each other's. But that's how weird the internet is, hey? And I'm sitting here on the other side of the world going, fuck, I hope this guy's real. You know?
It's just me.
I hope he looks like his picture.
Yeah. You know? Just me, a fat guy with his dick out, you know?
Oh man, no.
It's some sexual predator on the other side.
I know, yeah. That, you know, that's not. I mean, it's flattering, you know.
Take your top off there, wee boy.
Yeah, it's nice to be picked, you know. Yep. They could have gone someone else, but so I think that was it. But what made you get into the poddy, man? I know because you just said you're a chemical engineer, which fucking blew my mind, and you're doing this, and I know you're into comedy.
Yeah.
Again, follow along on the interwebs. I don't even have to talk to you, but I feel like I sort of know every move you make.
I know it's weird. You're stalking me.
Yeah.
No, I started the podcast fucking last year, or no, 6 months ago, and it's really taken off. I don't know why. I just fucking had a real love for podcasts, but I think it was, we end up following each other. You followed me, I think, through the Mitch, because we started that 2 Girls, 1 Smit podcast, and then we started a bit, and I started listening to the podcast, which I'm fully up to date with, all 121 episodes.
Mate, appreciate it. I tell you what, I'll a big shout out to you because you put your Spotify rap thing up the other day, which I love that. I love everyone doing that. I talk about it on my latest podcast, and I clocked in like 57,000 minutes. I'm like, fuck, man, that's killing it. I'm killing the game. And then you were like 80,000 minutes. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what is this guy, like a courier driver or something? You know, like, is he just got the tunes on all the time? Fuck. Credit.
Because I work 12-hour shifts. I've always got an earphone in, so Spotify's always going 12 hours a fucking day, then the hour or so every other day too. Like, it doesn't stop. Like music and podcasts and stuff, it just does not stop for me. Like, I'm surprised the minutes weren't higher, to be honest.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, no idea.
It's crazy. Hey, that's a good effort, man. I thought I was like really up there because I work like daily, and it's like I just put the headphones in and just sort of you're in the zone, you know. So I mean, the one con about podcasts is like for me when I'm working, I can't focus on what I'm listening to in the podcast, and I'm off my work, or if I'm on my work, I'm not focusing on the podcast, and you're like, fuck, I got to be at work. Maybe I'll turn the podcast off, but I really want to listen to it. So I have to go like for a walk or some shit just to listen to it. Eh?
Yeah.
But man, yeah.
No, like because my job's very monotonous, I'm able to fucking like tune in and just do my work without to feel like, so it is fine for me. Yeah. So I started listening to your podcast. I think I listened to like 11 episodes in one day because it's 12-hour shifts. Which is
nice.
Crazy. Yeah,
like that.
I start talking to fucking like with a weird Australian twang for the rest of the workday, and everyone hated me for it.
Yeah. You just start calling people cunts in a nice, endearing way, and people are just like, "What?" You know, like people are like when I first traveled, like, and you know, you start saying cunt overseas in certain countries, they're just like, are you trying to fight me? You're just like, no, mate, no, cunt. I'm just trying to buy you a drink. Like, what is your problem? You know? And they're just like, is he? I'm not sure. Is he drunk? Like, is he trying to fight me still?
I love that word, but I hate that word.
It took me years. It's still a vicious word. Like, it really is a vicious word because in the same breath, you can be like, oh, I love you, cunt. Like, I'll do anything for you, and just be like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill that cunt over there. Like, I hate that cunt, and it has the same. To me, it has the same level of appreciation. It's just like, yeah, that's love and that's hate. Like, and it's just chalk and cheese. You know, it's like,
I think the facial expression behind it really sort of goes with it as well.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a fucking like a real soft facial expression behind the word cunt, for example, or cunt, two different fucking things.
It is. My dad said it a lot growing up, and like you're definitely a product of your environment. You know what I mean? If I had a dad that didn't say it, I probably wouldn't say it as much. But it's like it's so throwaway here in Australia. Like it's just such a word that people are just like. I don't think people are shocked anymore. It's like, oh yeah, like he said it.
Over here as well, it is just so commonly used as well. It's so
Yeah.
commonly it's overused, and it doesn't have the same impact anymore.
Yeah, that's where I think that's the worst thing about swear words. Like I swear and I don't like things like that. I don't think there's anything cool or bad or anything about it. It's just it is what it is. Like you either do it or you don't. But there's certain words like can't which people can really overdo it. Well, they'll just start putting swear words together, but not actual words. And you're like, are you really angry? Like you're angry, aren't you? And that's what it does. You just get so angry. You're like, I can't say anything. Fuck, cunt, shit, fuck, and you're just like, all right,
Yeah, but
it's bad.
cunt goes with so many like lovely words too. Like you
Mm.
hairy cunt goes
Yeah,
down really well. You fat cunt,
yeah.
you ugly cunt. Just so many. We could go on.
I just cut like a clip to share on Instagram like a couple of hours back, and at the end of it I say you fat cunts, and I was like, do I post it because it was like one of my best mates and my partner, like the mother of my child, and I was like, wait, will this be taken the wrong way? It's just like, did he just call his like partner a fat cunt on the air?
Ah,
That
fuck
stranger
it.
things have happened.
Just post it. Who gives a fuck? People are
I
getting.
know. I sometimes watch like Howard Stern videos, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
just do it.
Fuck
Just
it.
like
Yeah, who gives a
he's
fuck?
rich as fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because there's a separate podcast I record called The Fabulous Foursome with like three guys over here. We just all whenever one guy comes home, we all record together, and it's some of
yeah, nice.
the darkest shit you will ever hear in your entire life. And we're always like, do we post it? And I was like, oh fuck it, who gives a flying fuck? Just do it.
I know. Every few weeks, I'll have like that. You have like that mini panic attack, like after you've posted an episode, and you're like, oh, will that be taken the wrong way? Because we're in those precious times where you're like, you're like racism, sexism, like any type of ism that you're like entering in is a dangerous one, and the whole like transsexual, homosexual. I'll talk about everything, but then every now and then you're going, wait, do I know enough about that to talk about it the way I did? Oh fuck, I don't want to come across like that. But you just leave it, you're like, well, I'm not big enough yet. Like no one's gonna complain, so it's okay.
Yeah,
But
no, it's the same with my stand-up comedy. Like before I go on stage, I tell everybody that it's an act. Like I say some fucking very dirty shit, some racist shit, whatever.
mm,
And it's not actually me. I love everybody, but
mm.
it's just if you can't laugh about certain things in life, then fucking you can't laugh at all.
I know, man. I kind of have a bit of a saying, and I don't even know if it makes sense, but to me it does. I'm like, if it's just like I always just say, like, if you're not laughing, you're crying. Like it's kind of like it's like if at the point I got a big problem with like certain things nowadays. It's kind of like they're trying to take the jokes away from like so many sub genres of society. Like you can't do this sort of joke. You can't joke about those people anymore. You can't joke about this. But it's like fuck. Once they start taking our jokes, like that's when I think like we're really in trouble. Like
Yeah,
society's going down the tube.
it's
You
but
know?
you can already see there's so much fucking censorship.
Oh man, it's
Like
bad. It's
it's
bad. Hey,
have you seen the Dave Chappelle special, The Closer?
yeah, I did. I did. Yeah.
Fucking unbelievable. And then he talks about his transgender friend Daphne
Mm,
and how well she wasn't really good at stand up, whatever, but how much he loved her and whatnot, and she was like
mm.
publicly trashed by her own people.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck is going on here? When you're somebody in that fucking either their own social circle or their own social circle of life getting fucking blatantly attacked for featuring on somebody's special.
I
It's a
know.
fucking joke.
Yeah, it's a really hard one. Hey, like, cause I follow quite a like, yeah, I'm sure you do as well on social media, and everyone's got an opinion, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. My big thing is like, if you have an opinion about something, that's awesome, but you should be able to listen to the exact opposite opinion and kind of respect it in a way. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably certain things you fucking like pedophilia, you might have to draw the line out, and things like that get a
Nah.
bit funny. But like, well, yeah, that's it. People go, and then there's arguments for everything too. But like, there was some interesting things that I saw people on Instagram put up. Like, yeah, we're on Dave Chappelle's side. We understand it, which is where I was, on. And then there was people that like I follow for other reasons who I'm like, I really like all their content, or they do like cool merch or this and that, and they like would put up like total opposite arguments about that Dave Chappelle special, and you like, wait, am I just not like on that same level that I can't understand it? It's like we're wearing different glasses. You know, we're watching two different things here,
Yeah.
and it's a really tough one to sort of like. Yeah, I don't know. And you're like, I respect your opinion, but sometimes in this day and age, it's a really common thing where like a lot of people just can't respect your opinion, and it's a real like COVID. I think has really shown that over the last year, especially. It's been like a huge divide, and I think that's like the worst thing about like the whole thing. It's just like, okay, people are just dividing because they can't agree on something. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah. Especially now with like with lockdown kicking in last year, like everyone being at home doing fuck all, they had a lot more time to think.
Yeah.
And that annoyed me, to be honest, because everyone decided to fucking develop an opinion and get on the internet and fucking start typing all this shit on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever else about things going on in life. And you're like, you'd never shown that opinion before. Why are you deciding to show it now? Because you're bored. Just fuck up.
Yeah. It's so interesting, man. And every man and his dog starting to start a podcast now. Kudos to us. We're original. But it's good, you know, I sit back and go, fuck yeah, do it, man. But I will say I don't think anyone's as consistent as us. There's us and Joe Rogan, and then I don't know who else is going as hard as we are. But no, it's like it's crazy. I know so many people that have started podcasts like over the last year, and they'll do like, you know, they'll do all like the logo and the branding and all this, and like kudos to them. They'll spend heaps of money on it and stuff, and then they'll do like 5 episodes or like 10 episodes, and people will turn around and be like, man, I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know how to do it. Like, so every week and talk to yourself for like 45 minutes an hour. I'm like, yeah, but it's something I like doing and I like to talk. Like, I don't know how fucking people work out at 5 a.m. for an hour every day. Do you know what I mean?
I can't be arsed that shit. I don't know. Sit and fucking talked into a microphone about everything in life. Do you not find it to be like a real fucking stress reliever? Sometimes?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you listen to my podcast and shit, but I always say it's like my own fucking personal therapy session. You probably the same thing. It's so weird, right? And I think everyone should do it. It's like, it's almost like a cathartic thing where you can like, I'm in a room, right? You're here now, which is sick. But generally speaking, if I'm on my own, I'm literally on my own. There's no one here. I can have a drink, whatever I want. And you're just talking. You know, people are listening, which I think is like the nice thing, because you're like, well, someone's going to pick it up and I'm getting it off my chest and someone's listening. I don't know who the fuck it is. Well, I know you're listening, but you don't know who's listening. I think that's the nice thing about it. And you're like, I actually do feel relieved after every podcast I do. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that was, especially the solo ones, because you just totally have to be yourself, like, because there's no one else to rely on. Like,
yeah. See, that's the thing. I haven't done a solo podcast since episode 7. I'm on 36 now or something, or this will be 38. And I'm doing a fucking solo podcast today, and I'm fucking nervous because I haven't done one in fucking that long. But even talking to somebody else and just sharing your opinions and views of somebody and them understanding and giving feedback, you start to see things in a different light than you originally did.
Yeah.
If you know, it's fucking weird.
It's so cool, man. I mean, I think I remember watching like a Gary V podcast, or listen to a Gary V podcast like a few years back now. And like, he's some things I really like of his, other things you're like, fuck man, I got to stop hustling. Like, I'm tired. Let me go to bed, Gary. You know, I'll fucking go to the next garage sale. I got shit to do. But he did say like about audio being like the next sort of platform at the time. And at the time I remember it was like really sort of small. I didn't really know much about podcasting and stuff. And from then to now, you're just like, wow, like there is so much. And it was at that point where you're probably the same, where you go, it's like self-education, you know, like you go to school and you learn math and English and all this other shit. And then you sort of finish and that's it. And you get a job and you sort of stop learning, you know, like you might learn little bits and pieces and you have to really take it upon yourself. But man, I'll put a podcast in for 10 minutes, like pretty much any podcast, and you'll pick up something. You're like, oh yeah, like, you know, that's pretty interesting. Could be, I love movies, could be fucking music, which I love, could be sport, which I love. I'll learn something about that, you know, like I love movie trivia or music trivia. And you're like, fuck, I didn't know that, you know, like, and now I know that. Like I got a bit of and I sort of don't forget certain things like that, you know, and, or you're like, man, I'm having a hard time with like my self-confidence. And you're like, how to be more self-confident, or how to be more, whatever it is. And it's like, bang, there'll be 100 podcasts that come up, you know, Uncle Joe. It's just like, there's a fucking 2-minute clip for anything you want to get motivated for. So yeah, it's cool.
Oh fuck, there's a podcast out there for fucking everything. Like, it's ridiculous. It really is. Whatever you fucking want to learn about, it's fucking there. If you want to sit
Yeah.
down and listen to two lads from fucking one from Northern Ireland, one from Australia talking absolute fucking bollocks, it's there.
Yeah. 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 I like that. That's what I think the fucking sick thing about it is. You don't need a degree. You don't need a lot of money. Fuck, you don't even really need any money, man, if you can be a bit fucking smart with it, you know? And the ones that get me, man, like that bloke that you had on those conspiracy guys.
Yep.
I mean, shout out to him. Like, I was like, that to me is hard because I'm like, he's getting on to talk, like he talks really well and he's talking about something that's like, it's like totally on point, right? And he's kind of got to research it and know about it. I'm like, man, that's difficult, like, but he's interested in it too, which helps. But
That's his full time job. Like he's been doing this for fucking 14 years. Shout out Gordo. That's ridiculous.
that's cool, man. That is really cool. I didn't like. I mean, shout out to you for exposing him to me because I didn't really know about him. And that's the crazy thing. You're like, he's been doing it for 14 years. I was the first time I heard about him. I mean, I'm not a fucking be all and end all, but it's crazy. And you find something new every week, and you're like, yeah, all right, fuck, that's cool. Now probably smash that.
Oh, that man puts in so much more work compared to us. Like, he's got fucking episodes out there that are maybe 8-9 hours long on fucking vampires or fucking the one that I'd recommend for you to listen to is the one on Princess Diana, her death.
All right, yeah,
And
that would be a good one.
The conspiracy and everything fucking surrounding it. How the hospital was 5 minutes away from the crash site, but it took her an hour and a half to get there, and all this. Oh, it's fuck.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
It's crazy. I appreciate it, man. And that, like, it's a form of like education. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's where people are, and I think that's where, Joe Rogan, like, everyone, there's one person in every house that like doesn't like him, but for every person that doesn't like him, there's like 10 that love him.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was look at like the Spotify rap playlist. There was not one that I saw that didn't have Joe Rogan in it.
Yeah, I was the same over here. Every fucking dick in their dog had Joe Rogan in the top fucking 3 at least.
Oh man, he's interesting. And I love the people that don't like him because you're like, wow, again, maybe we're listening to something different. Yeah, I don't agree with absolutely everything, but you're like, there's so much variety on there that he's good. Like my partner goes, I don't know how you listen to him. I can't really get into him. I'm like, I'm like, what? Like, I don't get it. In the same week, he's got like fucking Jordan Peterson on and then Snoop Dogg. And then it's like
fucking Ben Shapiro or something.
Ben Shapiro, yeah. And who took me like fucking 3 podcasts to get into him. And I was like, God, this guy's annoying. And then the second one, you're like, he's pretty smart. And the third one, you're like, he's very smart and fucking still quite annoying. But I like to listen to him now.
Yeah, I actually do love Ben Shapiro. I've got a couple of his books, and they're very enlightening. But it's because he does tackle fucking a lot of big social issues. But I listen to the Lighter Crowder and I listen to other people from the left and right to fucking depict my own views and be neutral in the whole fucking thing, Instead of right, I strictly follow Ben Shapiro's views, even though some of his views are fucking pretty spot on. But yeah, it's fucking crazy. What's that there? 10 minutes, no fuck off. There you
go. Yeah, you're recording. I realized I didn't fucking record anything tonight, so it's all on you, mate.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. I appreciated your fucking Dimebag Daryl fucking Instagram post.
Yeah, dude. That gives me a huge kick because I was gonna ask you about that because you're a bit of a metalhead, huh?
Fucking right, I am. Fucking right. Metalhead for life. The concerts I had that I couldn't go to last year were fucking mental because of COVID.
I know, man. I actually got a reminder today. Tickets, they got sold, but they then eventually cancelled because of COVID. It was Parkway Drive, Hatebreed, and Every Time I Die, doing like a triple header at like River Stage in Brisbane. Man, yeah, I that's Pantera are my favorite metal band.
Really?
Yeah, I thought about that long and hard. Like at some point you could go, what's like my favorite? What's the one you keep coming back to? And it's always Pantera for me. Hey. And I think too, it's like elevated by the fact that I know I can never see them because the Abbott brothers are now dead, and there's like Phil and Rex. But you're like, fuck, I'll never get to see them. I've actually never seen any. I don't think I've seen any member of that band. But I mean, I've seen a lot of music. But yeah, that pains me, man. Shout out Dimebag.
What the fuck's Dimebag's fucking? I love him. I love him so much. He was fucking so good. Like he was incredibly talented. But it's a pity what way it fucking ended for him.
Man, it's crazy. You know what? It sounds not bad, like, because he was such a nice guy. I've been thinking about this recently, and I was thinking about like Freddie Mercury, like John Lennon, all these people that like died like well before their time. And you kind of like, is like, you can't stop death, right? It's going to come. We never know when it's going to come. Like, it's just one of those things. And that's why some people fear it, because you're like, where the fuck is it lurking, you know? But you kind of go, it's like that Batman quote where they're like, you know, do you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain? Because like, how many people have like once had like such cool careers or done amazing shit, and then they just like come out with some outlandish shit when they're like 70? You're like, wait, what? Like, oh, you're a racist? Like, I didn't listen to your lyrics that intently. Oh wait, wow, you know? Or you're like listening to Ted Nugent do Stranglehold, and you're like, oh man, he's a redneck. Like, I didn't put two and two together. He was actually on Joe Rogan this week, and I was like, man, he's tweaking. Like, he's like not there, you know.
Yeah,
But at the
he's
same time,
fucking
you're like,
bald.
fuck. But yeah, you go like, and I sometimes think about that. I'm like, would they have gone on to be like, so Kid Rock like released a new song the other day, and it was just like, fuck all you like snowflakes, and like the fucking 12-year-old me was just like, oh man, this is sick, because like I love Devil Without a Cause.
Yeah.
And then so many other musicians that I respect and love now are like, fuck Kid Rock. And I'm like, I'm being pulled in two directions here. Like, I'm fucking, I don't know which way to go.
No, the one band that I want to see live before they fucking finally pack it all in is Akadaka.
I saw them.
Yeah, I've seen them twice as well, but I want to see them once more when I'm fucking like I just want to see them once more before they do.
They were cool. Where'd you see him? Like an island, obviously, or
Punchestown, Dublin.
Yeah,
Was fucking sensational. I think it was like fucking 2013 or something, maybe earlier 2010.
Yeah, I saw them actually at the Download Festival in like over in England in like 2009 or 10. I've got the shirt. I never, but they're not on the shirt for some reason. They didn't want to be on the shirt. But yeah, I just remember it being like mega, like 100,000 people, the train, the whole lot of Rosie thing. It's like,
Yep.
fuck, they're just an amazing band, man.
But on some fucking show, like they really do. There's so much passion.
I got a fucking like every cunt does, like we got a massive TV downstairs, and I just have like the YouTube running through, and you get like so many live you know, footage and things. And I had like an AC/DC concert on the other day. I'm like, fuck, man. And the cool thing about it is it's like they just keep getting older, but like they don't get less skillful. Yeah. It's like they just get better and better, look older and older, and the people are just like are frothing. Like they're just like, we can't get enough of this shit. Yeah, it's so good, man.
It'll be a sad day when they finally decide to pack it in.
I know. Oh, I thought they were gonna. Well, I mean, Malcolm Young, he passed away, and then didn't that drummer get arrested? Like, didn't he go to jail for like drug trafficking or something like that? Like, that's a man that's like looking for variety, isn't it? You know, you're in like
yeah,
arguably one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. I know you've got a lot of money, like unless you made some really bad choices, and you're just sitting at home bored, probably in your mansion, and going, yeah, fuck it, drug trafficking, we'll try it, you know. Well, I could get it, I'll just pack it in the drums, it'll be sweet, you know. Oh fuck. Well, I don't know, you're just like, wow.
But when you're fucking 76 or something, you may as well go for it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, if he died at like 40, he would never have drug trafficked, but he's 76, he's going, worth a shot, you know. I need to be relevant, I need to get relevant in this day and age.
Get his name back out there. And then I would love to fucking see Cliff Burton live.
Yeah, 100%. Some of my favorite footage of Metallica is like that Day on the Green.
Yes.
For Whom the Bell Tolls. Like that to me is my favorite Metallica song. Like, and it's just like, it just fucking goes every time. Like, it just gets you. But that is, it's just, that was a devastating way to die too.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think there's been any fucking bass player that I know of that had the talent that he had.
No, he was special, man. Who's your favorite metal band? Have you got one, or?
When you say like what band you always go back to, it's always Rammstein.
Wow.
Yeah. Always fucking Rammstein. I don't understand what they're saying. I've always looked up English lyrics and stuff. Like Mein Teil is about fucking like a cannibal from that the fucking asked the guy on Craigslist come over to his house to kill him and cook him and eat him.
It's fucked up, eh?
It's and so that's like, and I love it.
Yeah. I know, it's so good. That's why it needs to be in German, because you're like, oh, this is such a good song, and then you listen to it, you're like, what the fuck? Like, oh, just keep it in German, you know? Yeah. I saw them
pyrotechnics and stuff as well that are fucking awesome. Like the stage show and whatnot. It's just perfect for me.
No, I agree, man. They there's something about them. I mean, they're just they're interesting for one because they're like German and you don't know what the fuck they're saying. So you're like, okay, this is interesting. I remember seeing their family values tour, like on video, fucking
Yeah.
numerous years ago. I was like 10 years old. I was like the first time I'd ever heard of Ramstein, and I was just like, "What is this?" And then it was like that bit. He did the bit in the show when they do like book dish, and he's like pulls out the fake dick. I'm 10, you know what I mean? At that now I'm 32. I'm like, I get it. You know, what I mean, I've talked about pegging on the show. I get it. But at 10 years old, like little old me was just like, "What is he gonna fuck this dude?" And he like, and then the fake jizz, and you're like, I was like, man, that's Germans, eh? You know. And then you found out about World War II and all these things, and you're like, oh, they've got a crazy history.
Yeah, the
But
fucking yeah,
yeah,
I think they had an agenda though. But anyway, so Rammstein has always been my fucking go-to. But I was meant to see them last year in Belfast, Belsonic, and unfortunately COVID fucking hit and shut the whole thing down. I was meant to see fucking Motley Crue in New York as well.
oh man, that would have been cool. I love the Crew. Hey,
Yeah,
I love Motley Crue.
have you seen The Dirt?
Yeah, dude. I thought it was so cheesy, but still so fun. I've watched
Yeah.
it like 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
It's like it is real. It is really cheesy, but it's fucking great at the same time. You know.
Well,
And the guys that played him were like, to their credit, were like pretty on point. I thought, like,
oh, big time! Like fucking Machine
yeah,
Gun Kelly's Tommy Lee was fucking unbelievable.
dude, I couldn't believe how much his body looked like his body. You know, like I think that's always a hard thing to achieve. Okay, your face is pretty hard to achieve, and like the exact same body. You know, like I'm going to the gym and I'm like, I'll look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Like that's like the hardest shit to achieve. But somehow Machine Gun Kelly just woke up like Tommy Lee, and you're like, well, that's pretty much Tommy Lee, you know?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. You probably prompt me to go and fucking watch that again. I'm probably overdue for another viewing.
Yeah, no, I'll probably fucking stick on Motley Crue when this recording ends. Fucking
Yeah. Hey, so what happened with Motley Crue? You couldn't see them, or?
because of COVID hit, it was August last year, and fucking you couldn't fly to America or anything. Like I literally had the ticket booked in the hotel or anything. I was just literally going over and hoping to fall in with a crowd, fucking crash at somebody's
That's awesome.
place and get the flight home the next day. Fuck it.
That is fucking sick. That's fucked that you got to miss that.
Yeah. Like
Oh man.
last summer was my fucking summer of concerts. Like, at Europe, at White Snake, Def Leppard, at Motley Crue, Iron Maiden, Airborne, the Bonnevilles, Rammstein, fucking who was playing with Motley Crue? Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett, and the Blackhearts as well.
Yeah, that was like one of them big mega concerts, wasn't it? I remember seeing that advertised. Yeah, because that's the thing about Australia. Like we're so far away from the rest of the world. Like you're close enough to be able to do that shit. I mean, it still costs up money, obviously, but I'm always stunned about like the festivals and shit that are still overseas. Like we don't have one good music festival here anymore. Like in terms of like rock and heavy metal and punk, like all that good music. Like you can't find that anywhere.
Yeah.
There'll be like snippets of bands. You know, you're never gonna get fucking Ramstein at Splendor in the Grass. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but see over here, especially Northern Ireland, it's so hard to get like fucking big bands come up to Belfast or anything. They always go to Dublin.
Yeah, my cousin man is a huge metalhead, and I know he's seen his fair share. And I think what's it like? There's like the one venue in Belfast that they all go to, but he's been to a few like in Dublin, that's for sure. Hey, so yeah, fuck, I don't know. Yeah. I hope for music's sake and the fans' sake, like that it can just start to get back to normal. It's amazing though, like, I've seen a lot of bands like start to travel again and do shows. And like every band that I'm following has had to cancel like one or multiple shows, either due to like COVID scares or band members getting COVID. But I mean, like, it's it has to be a thing you have to live with, I suppose. So you kind of like, you might as well just rip the band-aid off and let's try and get it fucking done. Like,
Yeah,
that's
like,
kind of my mentality. Like, I don't know.
that's the thing with COVID at the minute. Like we need to learn to live with it and not fucking like hide away from it. This whole stop and start in life is fucking it's so fucked. It's like the flu. The flu's not going to disappear. We got a flu vaccine every fucking year. It's going to be the same with COVID.
Yeah. And that's it. Like, people go, oh, it's not the same. It's not this. I'm like, no, it's the same, and like it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, that's it. Like people have died, which sucks, but people have died from like a million other things that don't have the spotlight. That's what always gets me too, you know, like, and you always sound like a fucking, you're crude, you know, talking about it. People are like, oh, you can't talk about it like that. It's like, why not? Like, why are they not talking about fucking heart disease? You know what I mean? Like they're talking about this. Like, no one's like walking around telling, like, hitting fucking cheeseburgers out of fat people's hands. You know, going, just put that down, man. It's like, put your mask on. You know, like, but yeah, it's a shame what it has cocked up, man. Like, I feel really bad for musicians and stuff because, yeah, that industry in our country, like, especially, just was ravaged, man. Like, there was just like no real support at all. Like, I mean, they got crafty and shit with like live fucking streaming and merch and different things, but man, fuck, it must be harder if you're relying on that money and shit.
Yeah, it's a lot of friends of mine that like were musicians had to just pack it all in, and they haven't bothered going back to like fucking performing again because they've lost their momentum. You know,
Yeah.
but before lockdown or before COVID hit, they were gaining momentum, and there was fucking talks of like deals being signed, music deals and stuff being signed, and then the whole fucking thing kicked off, and it's just they're off the radar now.
It's it must be hard, man. I mean, I couldn't imagine that there's a hell of a lot of money in it anyway, and you need money to live, right? And that's the thing that like people, I think, don't get. You know, myself, like, I don't know about you, like, if you've done like merch or tried to monetize the podcast in any way, but you have to hand it to people that like go and do something that's not your classic job, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna just do some t-shirts here, and you're like, if I need to sell 10 every time I do something, it's like I need to sell 10 so I'm not fucking out of pocket.
Yeah.
And you're like, people do dig deep, but you're like, okay, cool, I've made a little bit of money, like maybe just a little bit, but I've lost money here, I lost money there, and you're like, these bands, you know, like you expect them to just come to your town, and you're like, I'll do that, and you're like, no wonder fucking concert tickets cost so much, because everything's just so expensive, you know, like, but yeah, fuck, man. But
even with gaming and stuff, like the fucking you got PS5 games or Xbox games coming out of fucking 90 quid, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, like, I don't know. There's got to be a ceiling, like a financial ceiling at some point in history soon. That's like our house prices here are just like ridiculous, like through the roof. Like shacks are like 1.5 million now. It's just like, you know, we live in a beach town, you know, so we're 10 minutes away from the beach. We used to be like almost beachside, and it was still quite affordable, you know. Like, I've talking to my cousin, he's bought a house. He's like, man, you should start buying over here. You know, he's like, I bought a house for like say 80,000 or 90,000 pounds, and I'm like, I'm doing the math, going, fuck, that's still like $200,000. Like, you can't get anywhere. Like, you could get in like the center of Australia, like, for that amount of money, and no one wants to live there because it's the center of Australia. Like, but yeah, we're just like on a fucking another level now, you know. Like, we looked at buying a house recently, and it was like, okay, like, that's going to cost me like $1,100 a week to pay off. You're like, I definitely can't afford that yet. Not if I want to do something else in my life, like eat, you know, buy toilet paper. Just the basic human necessities, buying toilet paper.
The best. Fucking docket leaves, you know, there's fucking leaves outside. Just go wipe your fucking ass in the grass.
I know, man. I know. That's it. It's just like constant showering. You just water bills up because you're just always in there just wiping yourself.
What is the worst thing you've wiped your ass with?
Man, that's a good question. Hey, I have wiped my ass with the toilet roll holder, which is like, which I thought that was pretty rough, but I reckon that's a pretty standardized thing. I reckon actually, yeah, I'll probably lived a sheltered life. You know, I haven't really used a bare hand or anything. I'd say cardboard. Yeah, or like a bit of something that just like a bag, like a plastic bag.
Plastic bag to wipe.
like I'm a human, like I'm a dog. I just threw it in the, like, you know, it was a nice way to do it.
Wrap it up like we president, fuck it out. I've used like the fabric for an umbrella.
Yeah.
And used it.
Yeah. Oh, like the holder.
Yeah.
I just did that like it was like a fucking katana or something like that. That's how I open it. Like I'm a extra in Kill Bill.
Yeah.
But you definitely threw away that umbrella holder, hey?
Yeah, I threw it out. Like, there was no friction off it, so like you were getting nothing off. You know, I don't know why I'm motioning the fucking wipe here, but
yeah, you're like, wow, it is waterproof, and you're like, wow, poo's made of water. You're like, oh, it's like a science. That's what led you into chemical engineering. Why do you study this, son? You're like, I need to know why shit doesn't stick to certain things. You know?
Yeah, it's just like every time I kept wiping, I was like, "Where is the shit?" Like, and then I thought I had a ghosty, ghosty, like fucking, just, the shit comes out, there's
Dude,
nothing to wipe.
it's bad, man. It's like yeah, I've never done that. That's a good question. See, I like these questions. I like this. I like that sort of
Yeah.
fucking questioning, man. I've done some weird things with poo, like I tell you what, the nice thing about poo and stuff is that like it's the one thing that connects every human being. I love that. I think it's the funniest thing. Like that like Hitler did shits. You know what I mean? Just like Gandhi takes shits. Like it's the same thing. Maybe they have different wiping processes. I know different countries have like bidets and different things, but man, yeah, you'll never catch another human being being like, "I've never shit." I can't relate to you in that way. Like that's not a thing.
Yeah, I've taken, like, where's the weirdest place you've taken a shit?
I'd like to. I reckon probably just in like a field, like on a camping trip. Like again, pretty sheltered life. Like the beach, like aqua bogs are a thing. Like I've never shit in the ocean. It's always something like I've kind of wanted to not try. You know what I mean? Like, but I want to try it. Yeah, probably just like in a field somewhere. I actually remember my brother shitting in a field in Ireland. So that's like a bit of what do one of your fondest memories of Ireland? Yeah, my brother shit in a field. A lot of them. What about you?
No, well, I remember being at a house party 2 years ago, and the guy kicked me out for me being a drunk fucking mess. And I was like, right, fuck you. I'm gonna fuck you over. So I waited till like the early hours in the morning when they're all passed out and snuck into the back door. And I took two shits, one in his kettle and the other in his toaster.
Oh my god. That is cold blooded, hey.
Yeah, fucking right. Fucking
That
right.
is Yeah, dude, I'm like very sheltered life, hey. That must have been like were you still drunk at the point of shitting in the kettle and the toaster? I'm
Oh,
actually I'm surprised more by the toaster cuz like that's kind of like you have to really you just put a shit on it, not in it, I'm assuming.
oh well, I did sort of like low key like shit on it and then poke it in with a fork. Just sort of brush it in, you know,
That is cold blooded, eh?
and just hope that the fucking, like, because I was drinking Guinness and Buckfast. Do you know what Buckfast is?
Oh yeah, dude, I know what
Fuck
Buckfast
yeah.
is. I remember just having like the worst shakes. I think I had Parkinson's after a night on the Buckfast once. Like I woke up with Parkinson's. I was like, I hope this is temporary. Like it was the worst thing. It was like getting out of bed at 4:30 p.m. in Ireland, which is okay because the sun's up forever in summer, and just trying to eat like baked beans like this, like I'm fucking Michael J. It's a sad disease
That's the
though.
thing. I was about to bring up Michael J. Parkinson's after Buckfast. You look like him with your glasses on, so you fucking gone.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know. I don't know what this camera's doing to me tonight, but like, I'm actually not this skinny. It's not adding 10 pounds tonight like it normally does. It looks the lighting. Like I was like, I'm in Australia, so it's fucking hot as balls. I'm like, I'll have a cold shower before I jump on. I got a pedestal fan on here. I got the aircon on, and I'm like, that's why I wore the shirt. I'm like, I can open it. I can be myself here, but I think I look good minus the constant shaking.
Yeah, well, you've had fucking all day to prepare for this. I've literally just woke up, so I'm still in my pajamas.
Nah, man, you look good. You look amazing. I think it's cool. I reckon. I tell you what, I'll make you a deal on here live for the punters that are going to listen to it. It's pre-recorded by the time they listen to it, but I'll get up in the morning for the next one, and you can sit up at night drinking. You can run to the fridge and get a drink if you've got any. I don't know how you are on day drinking, but
Fucking give me 1 second.
you're right. I'm going to entertain the viewers. We'll just talk. We'll talk to myself. I do it every week. You're sitting here with King of the Couch on the Talking Smit show, King of the Couch show. It's a Swapcast. I'm just going to let it roll. I'm sitting here drinking red wine. Shout out Tate Franklin, Tate Estates, Margaret River 2019 Shiraz. I've just sent Smitty to get a drink, loosen him up. I don't even think the kids have breakfast. I don't like that. I'm feeling well. I hope you're well too. I'm enjoying myself. And he's back. What's he got? Please begin us.
Fuck all. There's no fucking beer in the house.
Nothing. Doesn't matter. I was just that actually that's a good thing. I wanted to raise something there. I'll let you get you set up. I was stereotyping there. I said he's gonna get some Guinness. Like as if like every Irish person in the world drinks Guinness. You did just say you drink Guinness and Buckfast. That's pretty fucking stereotypical though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. No, like that's the thing. Fucking, I don't drink Guinness in cans. What are you on about, you fucking loser?
What is it? Oh, they got bottles. That's like that's like what the kids do, isn't it? That's like the street thing.
Fucking bottles of Guinness. Okay, the pint bottles of Guinness are fucking all right, but I always drink fucking draft.
Oh, right off the tap. Okay,
Off the
cool.
tap.
So we don't really like. I like it. I like Guinness. I really actually really like it. We don't. It's not really in many places like at all here. It's really hard to get on tap. I actually had a. I'm into the Guinness Extra Stout at the moment.
Yeah.
Delicious, delicious. I wanted to talk about stereotypes though, like because I think stereotypes are really funny.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm glad you brought it up. You with your Guinness and your Buckfast. Well, what's some of the funniest stereotypes you think about like anything? I was thinking about this before, and I was like, potatoes. Like there hasn't been a famine in Ireland since the 1600s, and people still are like, yeah, potatoes. You know, like Irish people love potatoes.
Yeah. If I say to you fish and maths, who am I stereotyping?
Fish and maths.
Yeah.
That's got to be Australians. I don't know. Maths, as in married at first sight.
Maths, Maths, Maths.
I don't know, man.
Chinese.
Chill. Oh, the Chinese. I was gonna stereotype them for like world domination and stuff, but and their lack of Facebook. You know. Do you ever remember what it was like not have Facebook? And it's like nah, but the Chinese are like yeah. You know.
Fuck.
Fuck. Stereotypes are fucked. I love them. It's something that just like keeps the world going around. I was thinking about it before, you know, like I was literally thinking about it just it sounds weird. I was in the shower actually just thinking about this. Shower thoughts, you know what I mean? But I was like, what are some stereotypes of the world, you know? Like I was thinking like, well, black dudes always have large penises. Like that's just a stereotype thing. I would hate to be
Nope.
the black
Mate. I have a black friend called I can't. Can I say? Yeah, fuck it, Mojo. That's his nickname, and he's from Belfast.
I was gonna say that's a pretty good name. Like that, actually, I'm piecing a good story together now.
Mojo, but he's not well endowed as a black man.
Is it? Because that's what I was gonna say. Like, well, there's got to, you know, stereotypes are so generalized, right? So you got black men all have large penises. Like there's the whole crew of like tiny penised African American men running around, just like on the other foot, you know, it's like by association, everyone's going, hey, white dudes have like smaller average penises. You know what I mean? I would say I fit the stereotype, but I've seen a few pornos in my time. There's some well endowed Anglo-Saxon men, you know?
Yeah, all like, time, yeah. Fucking like so many massive white dicks.
You're just like, yeah, that's one of those things I always think like that's like it's like being ultra rich. Like you could just get entry into certain venues by just showing it. You're just like, hey, like it's pretty big.
Yeah, you know? I see men and women like, you know, a man needs like these 5 fucking things, right? He needs 1, a woman that can cook, 2, a woman that loves him, 3, a woman that cares for him, 4, a woman that's really good in bed, and 5, for that all 4 of those women not to fucking find out about each other. So.
I like that. I was like, this has definitely got a punchline. I like it. Segue into just promoting your new comedy show this weekend. I'll be here all week.
I wish I had a show this weekend. Fuck.
Fuck, that's cool. Nah, man, we'll talk. I want to talk about that actually because I think that's very cool. So would you class yourself as a comedian, or are you just starting in like your comedic career, or whatever you fucking call it? I don't know.
I suppose I would call myself an open mic comedian. I'm not just there yet. I'm still tweaking. I don't have experience yet, but a lot of the comedians that I know that are fucking that have done it maybe fucking 10, 15 years. I said once you get on there and get on the fucking microphone and start telling jokes, you're a comedian. So you can call yourself one. So it's fucking difficult, bro. It is fucking, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about that, man, because I was really intrigued. I mean, fucking firstly, kudos for doing it, because I always think that like that's Well, I love comedy, right? I think we probably share that in common, and we like to talk shit, and probably think we're kind of funny individuals. But to get up on stage with an actual mic in front of a crowd, it's like public speaking, but
Mhm.
like you've now got a real serious agenda behind that public speaking. You're like, I gotta make people laugh here for 5 minutes, an hour. I got a Netflix special. Holy fuck, like I'm Dave Chappelle. I've offended a whole community here, but. Yeah, what was the leap? What was the leap from going like I think I could, from a thought to think you could and then doing it? Like what was the thing?
It was from the podcast, like, telling a lot of stories about myself and whatnot, and people fucking always commenting on certain bits of the podcast, being like, "Here, Smitty, that was fucking so funny and shit. Really enjoyed that." And people constantly telling me about these like certain specific bits of the podcast that people are loving. I'm like, right, fuck it, I'm gonna try it on
Yeah.
stage, and I signed up for an open mic night. Fucking smashed out of the water. End up winning that fucking competition.
Oh, really? Well done. That's sick.
I'll actually I'll send you the footage of it if you like dirty fucking comedy. I'm all
Yeah, dude, send it. I actually saw the photos and some tags and stuff like that, and I was like, "Fuck, you surely you've got some footage of it." I was gonna ask you actually because I was intrigued. I was like, really, like, genuinely, like, this is fucking cool. Like,
yeah.
you know?
And so I done a show there recently in a place called the Moy, just 5 minutes away, and it was pretty much a hometown gig for me. But it was the start of a comedy club opening up, and they had two guys over from London, who I mean are selling out fucking arenas all over London, doing tour support for some fucking big comedians. And it was great to fucking go up on stage, talk some shit to a local crowd, and even hear them ones fucking laughing and inviting me over to fucking Liverpool and London and stuff to fucking gig over there. And
That's cool.
it's like, mate, I've fucking done like 9 gigs and it's fucking really taken off. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just fucking weird how fucking fast things fucking move. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. What's like the like as if like a day in your life as a comedian, what's like the train of thought going on stage? Like you're not just winging it, like you've got a bit of an act. Like how do you sort of roll it from start to finish? Like
Because all my comedy stuff is story based. It's just a matter of
yeah,
remembering the story or writing. Like, yes, some things in stories when all comedians do it, things are fabricated a wee bit for the
yeah,
purpose of the
of
story being
course, yeah,
funny.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. You gotta you gotta sell it, I suppose,
yeah,
right?
you got to spice up a bit. So there's times there's bits in my comedy show that there's certain points in it that are so variable that I like to change for either certain towns or certain fucking places, or certain venues and stuff, to mold it into something relatable to that crowd or that area.
Mm, mm.
So beforehand, I'm gonna make maybe an hour or two before the show. I'm sitting down or walking around that town. For example, if I'm up in Coleraine, I'll go up and the show's at 7. I'll be in Coleraine for 4, walking around, checking shit out, buying a paper, whatever, reading through the fucking local news and shit to try and find something,
Yeah,
and then molding something and trying it there. So like you would say, some of my material is fucking new on stage, even though it's not new because it's fucking being made up 5 minutes ago or an hour ago. That
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
So you don't know whether it's
yeah.
going to
You want to
fucking.
say something to sort of like relate to like where you are.
Yeah, yeah. And then so if it gets a laugh, it gets a laugh. If it doesn't, but other than one gig, every fucking other gig's been fucking very, very, very good. The second gig I had, I was near going to quit comedy. I was like,
Yeah, it
fuck
was
this.
just fucking went bad.
Yeah, it was so bad. I was like, fucking, yeah. I spoke about it a bit. I've spoken on my podcast 3 or 4 times with this, and people are going to be pissed off me saying it again, but fuck it. It's my podcast. Go fuck yourselves.
Nah, man, no, it's good because I've listened to your podcast, but I haven't listened to I feel bad now because I haven't listened to absolutely everything. I don't listen to. I'll be honest, I don't listen to many podcasts like religiously and back to back because I just feel like because I'm a dad now, I feel like I've got like snippets of time to
Yeah.
just like, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna fucking play this here guitar, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go and do a crunch and drink a bottle of wine, and you're like, all right, listen to that, but yeah, tell me about it, man. I mean, I'm actually fucking genuinely intrigued,
It's,
like for real.
so I tell a story about me boking on a girlfriend mid shag.
See, this is new to me. I like it. That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
It's fucking disgusting, and I was on top too. So
I hope so.
yeah, so I've got footage of that one as well, and just how fucking bad it was. But I open up with a one-liner, and you'll see it, and I'll send you the fucking really good one that I did. I open with a one-liner saying like, there's something dribbling down my leg, and I hope it's sweat. And everyone went, oh. I was like, fuck, here we go. If you think that's bad, you're in for a long 9 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I was talking about fucking different things, like wanking so hard my appendix burst and fucking transition into fucking like, the Boken and the girlfriend story. And there's a girl in the front row that I fucking targeted her and said, look, there'll be 3 times in a fella's life where he's overly nice to you. One, when he's looking around. Two, when he's left a live load in your face. And three, when he's just boked all over you. And she went, And then I just seen these 2 people beside her giving me fucking daggers. And it was her mum and dad.
Oh no. That's awesome. How good. I fucking yuck. Just like so many emotions at the time. You're just like, oh fuck, I'm not a bad guy.
Yeah, I'm not a bad guy. And then, yeah, I finished with the fucking line saying, I want, like, I left the girl that I am there. I never seen her again. I walked down the stairs out the door and left. My open my end of the line was, folks, I'll leave you this here. How long do you reckon she waited for the towel? And, and I got nothing. I was like, right, bye. And
I won't be here all week. Yeah, fuck, man, that is awesome. That because like,
oh, it's so bad. I got off a stage and walked out through the crowd and out the back door, fire exit, and got in my car and went home. I was like, fuck this. And I was the second act on that night.
fucking hell, what was that? Just like, when you just get like pure anxiety and just like that, you feel like you're gonna be sick from just nervousness, like, and you can't do anything about it, and you get it almost like deep down in your crotch area too. You just get that.
Yeah.
Was it just like that? Was it just like, I fucked up here?
I don't want to say I want to blame the crowd, but I do want to blame the crowd because they weren't fucking, yeah, they didn't like the dirty stuff.
They weren't having it.
They weren't having it because I done a gig that was on the Tuesday. I done a gig on the Friday night, and I done 15 minutes on stage, and all those stories fucking killed. It took the fucking place, like it took the roof off the place. I think they're still reconstructing the roof. So they are.
Yeah, it's a problem actually.
Yeah, so I don't want to blame the crowd, but I am blaming the crowd to say that they weren't fucking loving the dirty shit.
I suppose that's a thing too. Hey, it's like you just don't know what's going to take because, like you said, everywhere could be different. People are in fucking weird moods and stuff like that. And even yourself, like that, it would be hard to like deliver the same thing. Like you could do, the words are the same, but the way you do it, like I always look at like comedians and some of them, like my favorite comedians, it's like their body language or like just the little innuendos in the act and how they do it. And it can be amplified with like accents and like things like that, like something that like Irish people are great storytellers, like great, comedians and stuff like that. Like they are funny people. But you take that same story and give it to someone else that like an American, right? For example, not to shit on America, but that twang, and you're just like, stop, just I don't want to hear it, dude.
Yeah, no, because there's an American girl in the crowd that night that I died in my fucking ass, and the opening story is about me wanking, and at the very end, like as I was leaving, she sort of pulled me outside, not went with me, but she was having a smoke outside, and she was like, "Hey, can I ask you what wanking is?" And I was like, "For fuck's sake, come on to my car,
yeah,
come on to my car, and I'll show you,
Yeah. Have you got like 35 to 45 seconds? Yeah, I'll make it worth your while. No, don't flatter her that much. Hey, it'll take a while. It's like you're the pro. I'm the professional. All right, you got to work at this. That's fucking good. And then you go and you stop feeling so bad for yourself because you're like, yes, that's why it fell flat. She didn't get the joke. I'm gonna have to educate her. Yeah. No, that's cool. Fuck. So you don't know how many shows? Like 10, 15, did you say?
About 10 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the only one that went really bad.
That's pretty good, man. I mean, I think it'd just be such a hard thing to do because you go like, firstly, you got to go, yeah, I think I could do it. Like, I'm funny, like, and that's, I think the thing I appreciate about like comedy and art in general and those sort of things, like being a musician and a singer, or like, I always think singers of bands are interesting, right? Like Freddie Mercury is a great singer. Mm-hmm. Like, I think anyone in their right mind would agree on that. I've not heard one person that goes, Freddie Mercury's a terrible singer. Like, no one says that. But there's bands I'll listen to that you're like, you're not a singer. Like, you're yelling, I love what you're doing. But at what point do you go, fuck it, I'm just doing this. Like, I'm gonna do it no matter what, and I'm just gonna kill it. You know?
Do you know who that is? A fucking like that's a great fucking segue into who that fucking is. Have you ever heard of Fozzy? Chris Jericho's Fozzy?
Like rarely. I loved wrestling growing up, and I was like Chris Jericho. You know, like I've never really listened to Fozzy. They're coming out here in February with Buck Cherry, and I'm tempted to go because I really like Buck
Yeah,
Cherry.
I seen there in Belfast on fucking Sunday night.
Oh fuck, were they good? I've seen them like 5 years ago here. They were awesome.
Right, the music was good. The singing, Jericho, nah.
He's a I can't not see him being a wrestler. Like a wrestler that's a rock and metal fan. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, he was good. He was all right, but just no, no,
not for you.
no, no. Like, it was good to actually witness Jericho in person. I was like my inner fucking. I'm a wrestling fan. My inner
Yeah.
fucking young wrestling fanboy came out being like, "Oh my god, break the walls down, you!" And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it was like, "All right, I know one song."
So I've never heard of man. Like I always thought it was a weird sort of concept, you know. And those bands you see but you never listen to. They're a band like that for me.
Mm.
It's at the click of a YouTube fucking enter or Spotify. I could do it like right now, but yeah, I'll make it my mission to listen to them tomorrow. But there's a good chance I might see Buck Cherry. I love Buck Cherry. I saw them a few years back. I've been listening to them since their first album. They were good. They're a great band.
Yeah. Fuck it. Here, one thing I want to talk to you about. You're always talking about the UFC and a lot of your fucking podcasts, the combat sport.
Yeah.
Do you think like fucking podcast sports, combat sports are fucking ruined now?
Um, what you mean, like just in general, like as in like they're
Um,
they're getting less popular,
sorry.
more popular, or like
Are they ruined because of YouTube fucking boxing and shit?
yeah, like I definitely think it's taken the mystique away, like from certain things. I don't know. I agree. I know where you're going with this, like the Jake Pauls of the world and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, I feel like for me, two-pronged answer. I feel like one, I think more power like I'm a singer that can't sing, or I want to do comedy and I'm not sure if I'm like, for me I'm like, I think I would be funny, but I don't know if I'd be funny on stage, like to tell stories like you would. You know, like it's like going like I could do this. And I think like the Jake Pauls of the world, they're going, fuck it. I can afford a trainer, I can afford this, I can afford that, and I like to box, I like to train. So why not? And we live in that weird day and age where people like, you want to just tune in because you know them. Like if you were like, hey, I'm doing a boxing match and I knew you was a podcaster and comedian, right? I'd go, yeah, I'll watch that because I like you and I'm genuinely interested in going, can he fight or is he going to get smashed? Like, you know what I mean? And either way, I'm probably going to be impressed.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, you knocked that guy. That was impressive. Wow, you got smashed. That's impressive. But I think that we live in this day and age that people are just like, people can do anything with like without a lot of merit behind them. And I don't even know what Jake Paul and Logan Paul did. I didn't know what they did before. I know they were YouTube stars, but that's a whole nother question that baffles me. YouTube stars. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think, and then if I flip it on its head, say boxing, for example, I think boxing is like incredibly arrogant with like, sometimes these people don't fight that often and they get like stupid amounts of money. So it's kind of like, how could you not think that people wouldn't want to do that and achieve that? Like people that can go recreate a boxing style business, use boxing, but it's not like a boxing. I don't really follow boxing that much, but it's like going, like for me and like for my fucking version, I'm going, I like the UFC, right? And that's the UFC, but I could just go and start the UFC and not call it the UFC and just get Smitty just in there trying to fucking rip someone's head off, you know, like, and there would be people that follow you and they would watch that because they're like, oh yeah, cool. Like, I think that's the crossover. It's almost like people watching Conor McGregor fights that never watch any other UFC. But everybody I know that doesn't watch UFC watches Conor McGregor fights.
I hate the cunt.
Fuck, you know what? I loved him. I loved him for a long time until like very recently. Like he's just kind of gone to he always said this thing, get in, get rich, get out. And then he just didn't follow his own advice. And I hated that. Because I was like, man, you look so cool just in the whole lead up. You won two belts in 2 organizations. You then jumped to boxing, fought arguably one of the best boxers ever. Did all right, got a lot of money, like more money than like I'll probably ever see. And then you just went and fucked it, like by sort of just like clearly getting on the gear and just getting arrogant. Like, you know, there's fun arrogance to sell yourself in that sort of world, but then there's true arrogance like outside of the ring. Like you just,
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
I respect him as a fighter until after the second Nate Diaz fight.
Yeah, like it's just it's unnecessary.
He was going so well, and then he fucking hit that old guy in Dublin in the pub for no fucking reason, for turning down a drink. I wouldn't fucking take a drink off the fucker, because fuck, it's probably fucking filled with gear. And so yeah, and then he fucking fought Dustin Poirier, and he fucking broke his leg, whatever, and he was fucking openly mouthing on the floor about the fucking guy's wife and shit. And you're like, mate, just stop. You're done. Just fucking quit.
It's that there's like that part of me too that like appreciated the arrogance and stuff. Like I appreciated it before that, because then you go, you've gone too far. Like, and you go, you know, there's little things like I'm sure you can relate where you go, man, you have so much money. Like if your goal was to get the money, you've got the money. And then you just go, oh, well, he's missing something else. Like that's what he's there for. Like it's like he can't lose. I don't know. I think it's like society. People are just like, there's always something else that they fucking they're searching for. And he's just like, I mean, what is he like? I'm 32. I think he's like a year older than me. And I'm like, fuck, I can't believe that you just, if we had to switch lives, like I'd probably just fucking break down. Like I'd just be punching people too. I don't know. Maybe not old blokes. I like old blokes.
I think he's just a guy that he was in the limelight for so long, and now he's out of it. He's constantly thriving to stay in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually listened to a bit of a podcast today, and they were talking about him, this Australian sports show. And it was true. Like he's not in it, but he's relevant. And if he wanted to come back, he's like the money fight. It's like, it's so unique in any organization, I think, where it's like you can't not be at the top of your game, but still be the most watched person and make the most money. You know, I think he owns like in the top 10, he's got like 4 or 6 of the top pay-per-views ever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the top 4, except for like a Brock Lesnar one. And it's like, fuck. But yeah, no, man, to answer your question, man, I'm like on the fence in all seriousness. Like I think it's annoying because some of these like fucking stars, they sort of shit me because I don't know who they are. And I just, you know, like you can just be annoying in this day and age, and people either will just pay a lot of money to tune in to see you fucking get smashed, which is like it's real negative behavior, but I'm kind of like about it. I don't know. It's like
that's the thing with the Jake Paul Tyrone Woodley fight, which is going to be another fucking rematch now because Tommy Fury dropped out. I hate that. I just want to see fucking Tyrone Woodley walk in and just axe kick the cunt. I
know, man. And I used to like fucking Tyrone Woodley, and I still like him, right? And I feel like he got a lot of stick, but like, man, you're a professional. This is my argument with Tyron Woodley is like, you're a professional fighter. This guy's like just become a professional fighter, like just. I know there's levels to it, of course, but like you've murdered some dudes in your time, and then you come in, you talk to game, you talk to big game, you got the fight, you lost the fight, and it was pretty fucking boring to watch. And then after the fight, it was immediately like, hey, I need to fight again. It's just like, don't do that. Like, just like be like, yeah, he beat me, or just be like, yeah, I threw it. Like, you know what I mean? Like expose it. I don't know, but it just, yeah, that's the worst thing about it for me. I like the UFC or that style of fighting because I feel like it looks like it's hard to throw a fight in mixed martial arts. Boxing, I could see how people do it.
Yeah.
But
there's one thing I'd love to see all these YouTubers like do, like all of them like competitively, and that's fucking Russian roulette.
Yeah, that would be fun.
It'd be fucking great. They would get fucking 6 guys, six in a revolver, 1 bullet, one of them's going, and that's it. I'd pay $1,000 fucking bucks to watch that.
Just like Squid Game it, you know? Like 45 billion won. Like they could do that. Like they would actually. I reckon it's probably happening in some fucking third world country right now.
Mr. Beast, one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, did a Squid Game fucking thing.
Fuck. I did see that. I'm out of touch with that world, like the YouTube world. I watch YouTube, but that's as far as like I get down that. Like I don't know about Do you follow a lot of those people that like are huge on YouTube and shit?
I'm a big fan of the side, man.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah. And then I'll edit all this fucking footage together for you and send it through to you, and the audio too. So
Yeah, man. No rush. I'll probably post it. I'll have to do another one on Monday night, man. Got a couple of interesting ones coming up for the end of the year. I wanted to do gonna do a music podcast. I'm gonna call it That Sounds Sick, and just purely about music, like the whole time.
yeah,
I like doing the weekly shows because I feel like kind of like what we're doing right now. You talk about the UFC, you talk about music, talk about fucking wiping your own fucking bottom with weird things, and you're just like fuck. But yeah, no, it's good, man. What we
so
talking about?
it's what I love about podcasts. You know, the avenues you can go down, the fucking all these fucking weird rabbit holes and fucking different things. All the tangents you can go on is wild.
What it, like I really underestimate what people will listen to and watch. Like that's really fucking like got to me over the last like couple of years I've been doing this. And again, like very small audience, but I feel like they're like pretty dedicated. Like they're really interested in like everything you got to say. And like that's not being fucking egotistical, like because I'm the same with the people that I follow. You're like, I like to hear their okay, they might be a musician, but I'm like interested in how they've wiped their bum. Like you just like I'll hear everything. Like, oh, what are you drinking there? Like fucking absolutely everything. And I think that's a cool thing. Like my brother, right, he's on Twitch TV and he watches people gaming. And like for the life of me, I just can't understand that. I'm just like, what? Like you watch people gaming. Like, why would you not just play the game? But I'm like, it's the same ballpark as listening to people speak
Yeah,
like either something or nonsense. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, like in that respect. But I mean, fuck you must have you get some unique people. Like they'll say like when you get feedback, like it's fun. Like I love it. I get a real kick out of it. And like I get that feeling of like I'm really thankful like that someone's taking the time to listen to it firstly, and then like secondly like tell me that they can relate to X, Y, or Z, or
yeah.
they'll go, yeah, hey buddy, or something like that, and you're like, yeah, thanks man, I know you listen to at least like the first 10 minutes, but what, like you get a kick out of when someone's like, hey man, that was pretty fucking funny or whatever.
Yeah, when you get a lot of people messages saying like how much they love it, and that people maybe if I hadn't posted in a week, which I have, I post every fucking week. But when the two girls one Smith podcast came out, because we live like an hour away from each other, it's very
Yeah,
hard for me to go up and see them all the time because I don't like with recording with them. I don't like recording with them on Zoom because I don't get the same vibe with them. It's not as silly as it is in person. Even
yeah, no, I get it. Yeah,
but even though this one here we're having now is fucking repeatedly silly and it's fucking good,
yeah,
but I don't know what it is when me and those two girls in the same room together, it's fucking wild. It just
it's yeah, I totally get that. I think too, probably because you're just there. Like the fact that, like, if I was in your town, I'd definitely come around your house and we do this. But you're like, this is the only option we've got. So you're like, well, we might as well fucking just go with it. But yeah, when like I got mates like in Brisbane, like different people I know, and they're an hour and a half away, and like you're just so busy. And I'm trying to prioritize more time to do more podcasting because I want to fucking do it more. Like those conspiracy guys, like make some money out of it. And people are like, oh, I want to catch up. Let's do a podcast. And you're like, okay, sweet. Like, when can you either come to me or I can bring some shit to you? Like, and it can be hard. Like, 6 weeks, 8 weeks go by. And you're like, fuck, got to do that. Like, we've been talking sort of on and off for a while. And then even it was weird that you messaged me because at the start of this week I was like, fuck, I want to hit. I'm fucking want to get on. Like, talk to you before the end of the year. Like, that's like was one of my podcast goals. And like we're here now. That was literally like 4 or 5 days ago. I was like, I'm gonna message a cunt this week, and it was just a weird sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then you hit me. I was like, yeah, fuck, I'm keen, man. Let's do it.
Fuck
And now we've done it once. You're like, why did we take so long to do this shit?
Yeah, we're gonna
You're
make
just
it.
like,
We're gonna make it a monthly thing.
oh fuck yeah. Well, I'm keen, man, because like you said earlier in the podcast, like it sounds like it's a bit of therapy for like you and I. Like it's like a mental health check-in for myself, and I generally get a kick out of people that like if I think maybe that someone's getting something from it, like you always say, like pay it forward.
Yeah.
Like if you share something, man, like you've just said, like you might share something on your podcast, do a clip or whatever it is, or like, hey, listen to this band. I'll always people that I genuinely like, I'll go, oh, I gotta check that out. Like if I know you got like you're into metal, you share a metal band, I'll be like, all right, I'll check that out. and it's a subconscious thing because it's like you don't know that I'm looking at it, and it's a weird thing, and that's kind of what we're doing. It's I don't know, but it's fucking cool, man. It is very cool.
Why King of the Couch? That's one of the questions I want to ask you. Why that name?
Fuck, it's I could fucking do a whole podcast on this, man. I tell you what, I was thinking about different names, man, like because like my name's Aaron, obviously, and then like people call me Az, and I was like A to Z. I was like, fucking like all these cheesy as fuck sort of, gardening businesses. Like, yeah, we'll fucking A to Z. We'll get it done at A to Z. I'm like, I'm not an accountant or anything like that. So I was like, I didn't really know what it was about, and I had no way to box it in. I was thinking about it, and I shit you not, dude. I went to Kmart to buy some slippers. And I bought some slippers that said on the slip bit said King of the Couch, and there was a crown on it. I was like, these are sick. They're $6. I bought them, took them home, obviously, and I was like, that's the show, eh? I was like, King of the Couch, because I was like, what is it about? It's about, for me, man, it's about like anybody that literally just wants to sit on the couch and like enjoy a movie, enjoy music, a drink, like being social, but just like the couch is like your zone. And then it's about like someone else like that wants to do something else, that thinks that like they can't do it. Like anybody can do it. Like everybody like sits on the couch. I mean, you're on the couch right now. Like everybody sits on the couch at the end of the day, at some point in the day, and they've all achieved like something. I don't know. It just sounds cheesy, but fuck, I was just like, it's everything. There's so much to it. But yeah, literally came from like a fucking pair of Kmart slippers.
That's awesome. That's fucking awesome.
I swear to fuck, the doors open on my wardrobe and the slippers are in the corner. I've never noticed them, and they're looking right at me like, hey, if you're on YouTube right now, bring them out. But yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, that was kind of it. And it just sort of stuck. And now people will just be like, yeah, KTC, or like I'll go to like, friends' parties, whatever. Hey, KTC, the King's here, this and that. And I said to my partner, I'm like, Beck, I'll be honest, like, and it sounded so arrogant, and I meant it because like one person called me King once. I was like, Beck, I'll be honest, like people starting to refer to me as King, like things are changing for me. She was like, fuck off, eh? Like you're such a fuckwit. Like no one calls you King. And then I literally had one person, like the first time we run into someone, they were like, here's the King. And I was like, I told you. I was like, it's catching. But yeah, man, just it's a bit of a joke, man. At the end of the day, I don't take myself like seriously at all. I just want to fucking have a good time, mate.
Either day, I just don't give a fuck. Like I just sit and chat shit, and people listen. Like
I got to be honest with you, man. Because is your last name, is it Smit?
Smith, SMYT.
Smith. Yeah, right. I'm such a fucking idiot because when I saw Talking Smit, I'll be honest, it took me like a month to click that it was like talking shit and Smith. I was like, what the fuck does he mean by I think because I saw Two Girls, One Smit at the start. I was like, and I'm thinking two girls, like as in Two Girls, One Cup. And I'm like, all right, I kind of get it. And I'm like, Smith. I was like, his last name's Smith. And then I was like, and then it clicked. I was like, that's pretty genius. I was like, I like that. I get it now. Fuck. Funny, man.
What do you think?
The name can be, dude, I like it. Yeah. You know what it reminds me of, man? Maybe it was what you're going for, like comic book kind of thing. Remember that? Did you ever see that movie Tank Girl?
Yes.
Yeah. There's like they show the comic, that sort of style of comic, not like I don't want to say Marvel and shit, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, there's like a cool comic book kind of. Yeah, it's wicked, dude. I think it's cool.
The guy that made this called Connor. I might as well shout him out here. I just told him to make me something. Yeah. I was like, I'm a podcaster, comedian, whatever. You know what I like? I love the forest. Of tattoos of forestry and stuff on my arm. Just go fucking wild. Whatever you think of, I fucking love. And he come up with that. And just to clarify, my arm doesn't look like that.
I'll just go with it, dude, because that looks amazing. Like that's a textbook arm.
Yeah,
like
that's the fucking goal, mate. If I decide to go to the gym, but fuck no.
Nah, that looks good. I think it's really cool. It's such a, like, from the outside looking in, like you see all these logos and stuff like that, but it is such a crucial like thing for your show or your brand or whatever you want to call it. Like, people are like, people recognize it and stuff. Like I was thinking recently, I was like, oh, I might switch up my logo, and everyone I talked to was like, nah, don't. Like I just love it. Like it's just, I always like pink as a color. Like, and I just like it. And you know, like historically, pink's been always like not a tough color. And I'm like, that's another reason why I fucking think it's such a cool color. Cause I'm like, well, it's just a color, right? It doesn't actually have any like physical qualities about it. It's a color for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Arnold Schwarzenegger can wear a fucking pink shirt and still lift 1,000 pounds, you know? So,
have you got recognized much since starting a podcast around your local areas?
Man, I'm egotistically, I'm waiting to sign some autographs or like get a photo or some shit. I'm just like waiting for it, just hanging out in my own merch on street corners. Like, nah, not really, man. There's been a couple of things. I've had a couple of like funny ones where people have like messaged me like, I fucking saw someone wearing a King of the Couch shirt or something like that. Like I've had a few like people that I don't know personally or don't know that listen to the show and they've bought merch. I always get a kick out of that. I had I had one recently where like a mate who listens to it like from way back, like we were like neighbors or some shit. He bought his dad a shirt, and his dad went to a barber shop recently at the Gold Coast, like fucking 3 hours away. Sits down in the chair, gets to get a haircut, and the barber cutting his hair was like, "Oh, listen to that podcast," and I'm like, "What?" And like, I'm not that big yet, so I'm really like, who do I know on the Gold Coast? Like, who is it? But I get a kick out of it, man. What about yourself? Like, people just like,
yeah, like
recognize yet or?
things have took off like pretty fucking well over here. Like,
Wow, that's sick.
And like for something happened over the last 6 months, like that's fucking mental. And the first time I actually got recognized there was maybe 2 months into podcasting, where I was at a comedy club watching a show, and guy come up to me and they're like, "Are you Smitty?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Fuck, I love your podcast, mate." I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't know what to do, mate. I didn't know what to do." And then like and every time I go down to Belfast, somebody always recognizes me. Somebody always comes up and says, "Oh well, how are you getting on? I love the podcast and stuff." And
Yeah.
they're always pushing for merch and all too. So that's hopefully what I'm going to get into the next year.
Yeah, dude. I definitely I'll back you there, man. I mean, it's a like I like the creativity of like people that like can put something into merch and do that way. But yeah, that's sick, man. I mean, yeah, I definitely I'm not on that level, eh? Like we like for real, like it's a weird, it's a hard one to sort of grasp that. Like I get a lot of people like, "Oh, you making like heaps of money yet?" And you're like, "No, not really, you know, like not at all, like just a little bit off merch here and there." But yeah, that's kind of like the next big thing. And I think that's where you go, like, is it just a hobby or do I take it to like kind of like treat it like a business, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it's powerful, dude. You got people listening. Like that's the thing, you know, when you're having like a bad day, again, like egotistical or not, like I don't know, like if one person messages me when I'm like, fuck doing the podcast, I'll do it for them, eh? And like as soon as I'm into it, like a minute in, I'm like, I'm jacked, like I'm psyched to do it. But there's always someone that'll go, "Hey man, like, you're late on the podcast this week," or I had a bit of a like. If you listen to the new show, like I was like, I've been a bit of a funny headspace lately, and I just like I always open up about things, and every time you open up about something, like guys always hit me up, like always. Yeah, man, fuck, so glad you talked about that. I'm exactly the same. Like I've had like 3, 4, 5 people this week message me about like money and stuff, and like coming into Christmas, and I don't know. I feel like I don't know. You feel good, like, you know, like to know that like you maybe have like relieved some stress or gave someone a laugh or something. I don't know. Like I think if like internally, if you're like, I'm having like a shit day and I can't get myself out of the fucking rough, you just kind of look elsewhere and go, "Oh man, if I can get on and like talk to fucking Smitty and make him laugh, then you feel better because of it."
Yeah.
And vice versa. I don't know. I just think it's a kind of a, it's like, yeah, it's like a powerful little tool. It's like all I got sometimes.
There's been podcasts that I've featured on that like I've went to the person's house and like I haven't been in a good headspace at all, but I'm like, I gotta fucking put on a face here because they've invited me down. They want me to feature on the podcast. The people that have listened to my podcast and started their own podcast because of it. I'm like, I gotta fucking put on a bit of a fucking show here now. And it's one of the toughest fucking things you'll ever do, put on a face to trying to fucking act funny or try and be funny or try and fucking just entertain in general, you know?
Yeah. It's over the last like 2 years, I've probably done like maybe 3 or 4 times, like where I've just gone, I'm not like, I'll do every Monday night, right? That's like my thing. And I've just gone, I'm not doing it because I just not in the vibe. Like I'm not fucking feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to come on here. Like when it's on your own, it's like different, and you're like, I don't want to try to fucking face like just pretending,
Yeah.
and try to like just produce some shit content, because you want people to feel good or think after it. Like I don't want people to fucking feel shit. And yeah, sometimes you just fucking miss a night. I do it Tuesday night. I'm like, look, I wasn't fucking vibing that night, and you get it out of your system, and you're feeling good. It's like therapy again. But yeah, I fucking urge anybody that wants to do like this or do anything that they're thinking about. Like this is a cool thing, man. Like
Yeah, it's awesome.
yeah,
It really is fucking great. And like, I have people come out to me and say, like, I'm thinking of by starting a podcast. How do I do it? And I'm like, just come on to my podcast with me and chat shit. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, then it's maybe not for you.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
and I'm sort of using that there. Yes, they're interesting people. Some of them, some of the podcasts have been released, some haven't, because you get maybe 10 minutes in, the person's like, yeah, it's not for me, mate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's cool, man. That's nice that you do that too. Like you just I've helped a few people like get set up and stuff like that. Never like done like many crossovers, I think too, like some people like I've talked to, they're so nervous. Like they're like, oh, I love the podcast. And you're like, do you want to come on and talk about anything? They're like, nah, not for me. And I respect that too, because you're like, all right, like you just want to listen or whatever. But yeah, it's cool. I think it's cool when someone like expresses that they want to do so. And you feel good because you're like, I'm not good at many things, and I'm like an okay like I can get onto a podcast, I can edit it and I can upload it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at that, right? Whether it's a great podcast or not, I don't know, because I don't listen to my own podcast. But people listening, you're like, all right, if you can fucking play a part, like and go, yeah, I'm helping someone do something they want, like you're serving them in that way, you feel good about it, man. Like I don't know. Yeah, you feel like I'm a boss. Like, I'm like,
Who's like the wildest person you've reached out to see if you can fucking get them the podcast? Like I've emailed some mental people when I'm wrote off to try and get them to feature on the podcast.
man, I'll tell you what, that's probably somewhere I'm playing it like extremely safe, hey, because like for a long time I just thought I'm just doing it for myself, and then I'm like, nah, I actually want to do more with it.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned my last podcast, man, but I've been talking to Ken, one of the guitarists from the Bronx, and like I fucking love them, man. They're like one of my favorite bands. And I was talking to him like once, you have that like bit of back and forth on Instagram. And I just said to him the other day, like after I messaged him about something, he got back to me. It's like, hey man, like I got this podcast. I'm like about to do a music one. It's going to be more, music orientated. Would you want to jump on? And he was like, I was like, no hard feelings if you don't, like still love the Bronx,
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, dude, fuck yeah. He's like, got a couple of weeks of touring, but maybe early January. I was like, yeah. I was like, okay. And then you initially get that, oh fuck, like I've got to do the podcast with Cameron the Bronx. But I was like, nah, that's sick. But I had like a guy, Isaac John, who was like, he's like, he used to play rugby league in this country, and that one was a bit of a nerve wracking thing because I sort of like follow him and like listen to a lot of his advice and things like that, and like what he's putting out. And he's one of those people, like I don't have everything in common with him.
Yeah.
And that's why I was quite, nervous at the time. But he put a post up like, hey, like, want to do a bunch of podcasts, reach out. I initially was like, fuck, nah, I got no shot. Like 2 nights later, again, same thing. I was like, probably had a few wines, and I was like, well, yeah, fuck, bang, want to get on my podcast? Here's a link to my podcast. And they're like, yeah, cool, we'll do it. I was like, fuck. But yeah, man, there's a few. I actually reached out to the guy on my theme music, like Ginger from the Wild Hearts does it.
Yeah.
And I reached out to him to do the podcast, and like they never got back to me. But I was like, that's cool, I understand that. But yeah, that's kind of one that I would like to get. But yeah, I've kind of made it my mission next year to sort of just I want to hit up like a lot of musicians, just bigger people, man. What about yourself?
Yeah, like see when I have a couple of drinks in me, like I start emailing or messaging. Like it usually starts off like fucking like local like musicians or comedians or something.
Yeah.
And then it ends up like me emailing like fucking Chris Benoit or some shit, or
Yeah, Chris Benoit. He's just like, stop it, Chris. Oh,
you know,
fuck.
or some shit, or fucking emailing Joe Rogan, me wrote off, being like, mate, why did you come on my podcast, you wanker, and all this here shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, the one person that fucking replied to me recently there was James Lee Courtney. He plays Mike Myers in the new Halloween.
Oh, fuck. That's cool. I was
Yeah.
like, I feel like I've heard the name. Definitely don't know the face.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck it. Do you want to come on the podcast? He's like, look, I really appreciate the email, whatever, but unfortunately, I'm not available. I goes, oh, okay, just maybe another time then, fine.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fuck. It's cool, man. I was actually listening to a podcast recently, and I can't for the life of me, I can't remember who it was. And they like, for me, I was like, oh, you must be like a lot fucking bigger than I am. And they were talking about like constantly messaging people, and then they eventually got that person on, and that was the podcast I listened to. And I was like, it just goes to show, like, it's like sales in a way. You like, you got to be a little bit persistent with it sometimes, and just sort of get people in the right headspace, and just timing and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's at the same time, man, it's fucking really cool when you can get someone on the podcast that you're like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? Like, I like talking, right? So if someone's like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? I'd be like, yeah, because I actually genuinely enjoy talking.
Mm.
Like, and it's that sort of thing. But yeah, yeah, just a few like local people and stuff that I thought wouldn't say maybe yes or no, like be a bit nervous. And but yeah, I think we're probably just selling ourselves short. Hey, like sometimes I'm like, oh fuck, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. Like, oh, my lighting, my this, my that. But at the same time, man, like, I don't know, over polished shit. Like, that's all it is. It's just over polished shit. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, people just want to hear like what that person's speaking, or you speaking. So they can't even see you, man. Like, half the time in Queensland, you're like, oh fuck, I might even have a shirt on recording. You're like, it's so hot, you know, like, but they don't know that.
Yeah, fuck right.
But yeah, dude.
You recently spoke about pegging.
About what, sorry?
Pegging.
Oh yeah, dude.
We'll quickly talk
Maybe we
about
should.
pegging and we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, we'll end on that one. That's a good one, man. But the pegging reunion 2.0.
Yeah.
Man, pegging, yeah. I will say, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I have to preface that, because you got to say that nowadays.
Yep.
I've never partook, sorry, in a bit of pegging in my life. Not to say I'd totally rule it out. I mean, it's the 21st century, right?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I won't mention names, because I know people that would listen to it and they would definitely marry it up. I actually had a fucking lot of people messaging me after that, me like, is this the person? I knew this guy pretty well, and I didn't really know his partner that well, but she was a top bird. Like, they're very great people. I really like them a lot. We're at this party. It was a wedding actually, and we're talking. The first time I met him, my partner's there. First time I met him, and I can't remember how it came up, and it was just like a, hey, you want another drink? We're a bit like boozy, and she said something, and she's like, yeah, like, oh, yeah, no, I pegged him, and I was like, we both like, I was like, so did you say you what? And then he's come back with the drinks, and was just like, and she just turned and was like, yeah, babe, like, I just let him know that, like, I fucked you up the ass, and he was just like, yeah, I was just like, 3 mojitos, like. And he just was like, I got to run with it. Like, he instant white face, but then like, oh yeah, like, dude, like, you don't do it. Like, what are you, gay or something? Like, something wrong with you? And I was like, and I was instantly just like, this is such a sick conversation to be about and be a part of. Because like, I like this bloke. I don't know his missus, but I appreciate her honesty. And I actually really fucking like her then and now. And I just opened up, and I was like, I got to talk about this on the show. It was so sick. Made me think though, like,
Yeah.
how many people are out there doing it?
I don't know. Right, it's not for me. I wouldn't personally do it. I've had friends in my life that have had it done. I've had it offered to me,
Yeah.
but it's just I can't. I
I
can't.
just,
Yeah.
I just, I don't. I tell you what, I don't know if it's the pain that gets me as much as the compromised position. You know.
You're so vulnerable there, you know.
Oh, it's so, like, you're down on all fours, like, not seeing what's happening, and I don't know. And it's like one of those things. I just thought, like, because we've all probably been in that position on when when it's reversed, and you're going, it's a dominant position, and I just don't know if I'm ready to fucking just trade hands yet, you know. And yeah,
When you have your partner in that position, are you tempted to like just peg her while you're?
yeah, you gotta just like there's a part of you that you go, wait, could we do this? Like, could we switch? Could we do the switch? I just feel like if your partner was that sort of person too, like that's something they'd hold over you. Like, you know, like you'd be a bit like they'd be just out with you in public and you'd have a bit of a stoush and they'd just be like, remember that time that I fucked you up the ass? You're like, wait, shut up, shut up, shut up. Like, because not a lot of people want to openly talk about it. I mean, I don't think this guy did.
Yeah, but like the thing is though, if it's a woman, well, obviously it's a woman going to be pegging you. If because it was a guy's pegging, he's just going to use his fucking dick, so he's getting fucked up the arse by a cock. But if it's a woman pegging you, right?
Yeah.
What's it doing? What's it doing for her?
It's gotta be a dominant thing. It's gotta just be like a I mean that is like the ultimate pleasure giver. Like you're not getting anything out of it like in that way. But yeah, I guess that that's just like I just think it's like you're one step away from just getting slapped up with a bit of leather, eh? And just sort of wearing a gimp mask, you know? Like you've succumbed to the first stage of dominance. I
Yeah.
don't even know if that's the first stage. That's a pretty fucking aggressive first stage, eh?
Say, very aggressive. The next will be fucking candle wax all over you and shit.
Yeah. I don't know what I prefer actually. I think there's I think I take the candle wax firstly because I can see it coming at least. That's the thing. Maybe if they were throwing it on my back,
Yeah.
it's fucked.
Fuck. Why?
We sound
Burn it.
we
Burn
sound
your
like we're
back
from
and
the
you're getting-
50s.
Yeah. Say you we're from the 50s.
You know, we're very old here, eh? We're just like, oh, I'd never allow myself to be pegged by a woman.
Like
You know?
I don't get like there's three things that like do nothing for the person that's doing it. So like the woman pegging the guy, it does nothing for her unless it's just pure dominance of the mind. Two,
Has to be.
which is sucking dick, it does nothing for her either. And three, when we're eating box, it does nothing for the fella really at all.
Nah, I mean, if you look, I think it's just being nice. It's like, I think it's like, it's, you know, you're just being nice. It's a nice thing to do for someone. It's like doing the dishes, you know, it's like buying someone flowers. It's a gesture. I think that's what it is. It's a gesture. Don't you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, I'm not getting that is kind of a relationship in a nutshell, isn't it? Like there's just it's just constantly like, hey, I'm getting fuck all here. I don't know you're getting something out. This is nice. And I'm buying myself a ticket for like a return gesture. That's what it is. That's like a definition of give and take. That's like life.
It's just the return ticket, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, like I actually I love the peggers. I love the peggers, man. I'm all about it. I actually there's this dude in Australia that like I follow him. I actually get a bit freaked out by some of the stuff he talks about, frankly, because you know when you think you're sexually enlightened, then you see some stuff and you're like, wow, I'm a bit of a prude here, eh? And I want to get like this guy, and he's like a sex coach or something like that. Like it's an interesting thing. Like I'm like I didn't even know that was such a thing. Firstly, and then some of the stuff he talks about when he starts talking about the whole male erogenous zones, you're like, wait, hang on, like, are we one drink away from pegging?
That is
Like,
such a good idea.
like
To get a sex
that's
coach on. That's a fucking clinker.
wait. Let's watch this space. I mean, there's got to be. I'd say there's one in every country. There surely has to be.
I'm gonna find one over here and ask him to come on. You do the same, and we'll just fucking compare episodes.
I'll do that. Eh? I feel like sex coaches would be the kind of people that take themselves like incredibly way too seriously. Like,
Oh yeah.
they're so, you know what I mean? They're so serious that like you can't joke about it. You just be like, you know, you're like, so tell me about the anus again. I think you referred to it as. It's just like what
Be
the
sitting
fuck?
there giggling the whole time. He's said nipples.
I know. You want me to put what where? No, I like that, dude. Fuck, we could talk
Yeah.
all night about this.
Fucking one of the weirdest. We've got like fucking 5 minutes left here, and we'll wrap this up. I
Yeah.
remember working with a guy, and he was just a real dirty bastard. He was fucking disgusting, and he had a sexual fetish for leather or PVC.
Yeah,
which-
I appreciate that, but I can't get it. I don't
yeah,
understand.
I
it.
can't get it either. And then we're talking to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I just love PVC, boy. I just fucking love it, boy. It's fucking." Oh, that's I'm like, right, okay. And he goes, "Oh, hey, I'm even wearing it right now." And we're like, "What the fuck?" We were like, "Right, mate, show us." And he dropped his trousers and took his shirt off, and he's wearing this full PVC bodysuit. And
Wow.
we're like, "Mate, are you not fucking roasting that?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll take it off and I'll go home and buck the wife." I was like, mate, would you not be like covered in sweat and disgusting? And he goes, "Yeah, but she loves it." I was like, "You fucking dirty bastard."
I know, and sweat's pretty fucking gross at the best of times, eh? Like it is. Like I'm a bit of a germaphobe, I'm like a bit of like Jerry Seinfeld in that way. Could you? I mean, like it's a right. I'll be honest, it's a right like climate for PVC.
Yeah.
Like, the humidity here, you'd literally there'd be dead bodies in PVC. Like it'd be that'd be a proper pandemic here, you know. But I sometimes think about that. Like I think there's like I feel like just when you think you're a freak, you're like, nah, like I'm not. Like there's people out there, you're like, fuck, they're doing some outlandish shit. Like what? You know, like just that. Like those sort of like objects that are like that, you're like, I don't get it, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Fucking.
There's nothing that you've got any. Just I think we should sign off with like, there's nothing that you're weirdly sexually into, like
Dead bodies. No,
that makes sense. There's websites, there's whole clubs for that.
Necrophilia. No, nothing. I'm vanilla, bro. I'm vanilla.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I know. I feel like this is like we're very missionary, you know, missionary by nature, you know.
It's like you got to pray to God before and after it, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah. I'm usually sick after it. Twice. Yeah. From either end.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to leave the Bible on her back while you're going at her, you know.
Yeah, dude,
like,
that's it. Yeah, how else am I gonna read it?
Yeah. Repent.
Yeah.
For everything.
Nah, I'm the same, man. I'm the same. Just a weirdo talking about it on a podcast, man. You on one side of the world in your pajamas, and me on the other side of the world, and looking pretty fucking svelte, I will say.
Yeah,
I will say. Yeah, no. This has been good, man. This has been fucking. It's been fun to catch up. Actually,
it's weird not seeing you and your wife beater, you know.
Yeah, did you like that one the other day?
Yeah, I fucking liked it.
I was just cashing in on a bit of fucking bit of vintage. I was like, yeah, people will probably hit me up. I need some money right now, so I was like, if maybe someone offers me $200, I'll take it. You know, like, actually, that was purely just because like it was hot. I like that tank, but it's hot.
Yeah,
it's
bro. We've recorded for nearly 2 hours. That's awesome.
This is a long podcast. It's probably the longest one I've ever done, man.
The longest I've done was 7 hours.
7 hours. Holy fuck.
But yeah, I mean,
that was a gangbang. That was just like, it was mics in the corner. Now we're talking true colors.
And all you heard was
it's like hashtag ASMR. I ain't gonna sleep to this.
Yeah. Bro, it was fucking a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for joining me, and I'll join you the Swapcast, you know.
Yeah. You too, man. Yeah, this has been cool. I know we've talked about it for a little while, but fuck, now I feel like now we've done it once, we could do it many times.
Fucking right. Still so much more to talk about.
Man, I don't know. I literally was just like, I had intentions of like, I'm gonna record this, I'm gonna do the video, we're gonna do this, and I like just got on. I was just like, I was in the zone, and I had the wine, and yeah, we'll have to do it. I'll do it next time we'll do the video. We'll do it again in like fucking next month, I reckon. Maybe New Year podcast, kick it off, and we'll set the standard for 2022.
Fuck yeah. Well, yeah, it's been a pleasure. We'll just end the recording there. You can do your own outro and shit by yourself and whatnot. But yeah, that was good, bro. Thoroughly enjoyed that.